insane. I don't want to give my exact location away. I want people, certain parties to I don't want to dox myself and get swatted by certain parties. I love lingo, slang, whatever the kids are doing, the dankest. All right, so I want to get right to business because there are things that I want to talk about, and I made sort of not an outline, but I've got some bullet points or some, you know, bits or whatever. So the thing, okay, I filmed this art talk last night, downtown dealers. I'm in the art world in sort of this interesting way. I'm a witness. I'm a paid witness, as it says in my IG profile. The lady said, well, kind of the consensus was, post-COVID is over. Post-COVID is over, and we're moving into whatever a new period is. Post-COVID being, and they said, I don't know any of their names. I'm paraphrasing, but they said something along the lines of, every day for the past few years, 2021 and 2022, it's been like Christmas. Oh, fuck, where's my tripod? Hold on. Let me get my tripod thing. It's been like Christmas because of the bailout money, right? The relief money, not having to working remotely. Ugh, sorry about that. It's much about that. Oh, these people are in line for something. I wonder what. Some kind of Harry Styles thing. Oh, it's a film thing. I bet Timothy Chalamet's there. I bet Timothy Chalamet is involved in some. Is it Wonka? You just saw a fucking ad for the Wonka movie. It looks like shit. Well, that's something else I want to talk about, fictional universes, and how people just get super stoked on crossovers and shit like that. I'll get into that in a little while. I don't know why fictional universes colliding, lore, backstory, fan fiction, sexual fan fiction. We'll get into it. We'll get into it in a minute. But I want to talk about, the post-COVID is over. It does feel that way. And you know how it relates to, the open mics, I do think that the open mic thing was kind of a sensation. Just economically, it was made feasible, like me, right? I was in that apartment, subletting, spending a bunch of the government gave me a bunch of money. And, God, it was ideal. I mean, it was literally like I manifested it. It was the ultimate, it was like we won the lottery. Why can't it always be this way? I don't know. It felt like life was fair and correct for once. I wish I would have started the open mic a year earlier. That's my only... During the prime of post-COVID, when every day was like Christmas. I mean, it did kind of feel like an apology for Trump. It felt like, sorry. Sorry we put you through this for 4 years. We're going to give you 20 grand and take 2 years off to just like travel, spend money, get high. We're going to legalize weed. I mean, it really was a miraculous time in New York. I watched this documentary about New York City. It's Ken Burns' brother, Rick Burns. I know that sounds like a joke, but it's true. Ken Burns' brother, Rick Burns, is also a pretty good documentary, and he made this really amazing documentary about New York City. It's on YouTube, I think. It's like 10 parts or 12 parts. Highly recommended. Oh my God, what's going on? This has got to be some kind of Palestine thing. God, the light is just so nice right now. Maybe I'll go over here and around or something. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, Trump made our lives a living hell, basically from 2016 until 2021, and they kind of just bribed us. They said, you know what, sorry, we forget about it. They just gave as we know now, right? We're paying for it now. Although I did see something this week that's going to indicate that inflation is cooling, supposedly. Although Netflix is raising their subscription prices. I just saw Netflix has record profits. They're raising their subscription prices. So who knows how that works. What on earth? And so I mean, everybody's out of money, right? Whatever money people had saved, probably for the most part, from their unemployment. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the one who ran out of everything, the benefits. And so now it's like, okay, well, what is the next era? They want to, there's a big thing. The remote work experiment did not work. People need to go back working in person. I don't know. Who knows? Everything's more expensive, right? We've been kind of pushed through this. My sense, I don't know, and maybe could be a lot of reasons, but I'm getting the sense that people are tightening their budgets. For the open mic on Mondays, right? It's a 2-drink minimum. Yeah, this is some kind of Palestine. Let me just get in here for a sec. That's pretty expensive. It can be expensive. When people were subletting apartments in Manhattan, a bunch of free money from the government, or they had a bunch of money to be on TikTok or vlogging, live streaming, vodcasting. Let's check it out. God, there's cops everywhere. Oh my God, here we go. Oh shit, man. Oh my God, this is crazy, man. Wow. That's intense. Oh my God. Like I said, post-COVID is over. We are live from New York. Obviously we're in a new fucking moment. This is one of the big, I guess maybe the Ukraine thing was the beginning of the post-COVID being over, but this Israel thing, Jesus Christ. This is putting divisions, especially in New York City, right interpersonally between people. Everybody, what I'm noticing is everybody on the left is sort of getting consolidated behind ceasefire, right? Demanding a ceasefire. I saw Ann Boyer, the poet, just resigned from the New York Times as poetry editor. Ann Boyer was putting a lot of good shit in the New York Times, to be honest. I don't know if people are really that aware of that, but Ann Boyer was putting a lot of people in the New York Times that you would not necessarily expect the New York Times to publish. And because Ann Boyer is pretty smart about this kind of stuff, pretty smart about politics, and has been for a long time. And they just resigned from the New York Times, today. I saw it on Instagram. Because out of protest of the New York Times, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure that the New York Times is, not exactly having the same opinions as, you know. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, so post-COVID is over. Every day is not Christmas anymore. In case is that not apparent? Every day was Christmas. Are we re-entering Trump? I don't even want to say it. I can't even say it. Just look at the moon. I can't even say it. Just look at the moon. Hold on. What does that portend? Look at that. Visions from late capitalism. The cyber dystopia. Post 9/11 cyber dystopia. Look at that. It's a little. Oh, looks like a little fingernail clipping. How do I get out of this? Zoom out. There you go. There's some avant-garde filmmaking for you. Live avant-garde. Look at that. It's vaporwave. How vape is that? Vape, 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 vape. Okay, so anyway, yeah, pretty sweet. Just taking a walk, walking and talking. The post-COVID moment, 21, 22, goes bust, question mark? Well, yeah, okay, so there's all these wars. That's kind of a bummer. It's very personal. Not to be facetious about anything. Are we re-entering, remember 2016? Apparently, this guy is on fucking trial in a lot of places. He really should be under, he's under a gag order, and yet he's leading in the polls. Oh my God, I don't know. I think, Biden, Jesus Christ, right? I think we all can agree that Biden is he's got to go. Oh God, not to get pulled back into the political fray. Jesus Christ. It feels like we're on that slope. I'm seeing people awaken, and I'm seeing the polarization begin again. And, to me, I don't want to be so dismissive. But it's almost like recycling or something. It's like everybody feels like obligated to say the right thing, to think the right thing, to post about it, which is good. I guess that's a way of pinging off each other and getting the word out. But at the same time, it's like recycling. It's like there's way worse polluters out there. There's people out there making way bigger decisions that, I don't know, social media posts are just kind of more like an in-group, out-group. I don't know. It's and the obligation to feel. I don't know. I do think people are moved. Don't get me wrong, and rightly so. It's the Rodney King wisdom all over again. Can't we all just get along? I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid, easy way out, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's looking dark, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't mean to be pessimistic. What's going to happen? Is it going to be World War III? Is it going to be the axis of whatever? Things are heating up, tensions. I don't know. Is there going to be a ceasefire? Maybe there will be a ceasefire. That's why people are calling for it. That's why these fucking protests are happening. People want to make their voices loud and heard, And so that could work. And in this, I think part of post-COVID, right? We're all now in Web 3, or we're all influencers, we're all social media, I mean, I don't know what's in the water at YouTube, but they're finally promoting my page or something because I am getting, knock wood, I'm getting a good amount of subscribers recently. I've been getting a couple subscribers a day. I'm not sure. I think vlogs are just becoming more kind of accepted. They're becoming more legitimized as people now kind of know what a vlog is. I saw a TikTok post the other day about how toxic it is family vlogging is super toxic because you shouldn't use your family, especially children. They said you shouldn't vlog children, which I do not do. I do not vlog children, okay? I want to be firm about that. I want that to be clear. I do not vlog children. They said you shouldn't use, children to shore up your online presence. And so that's, I don't know. I've been vlogging for a long time now. I've been vlogging for nearly 10 years. 2024 will be my 10-year anniversary of Scenes from My Life, so that'll be a big year. I do want to do a big retrospective. My Manhattan Alexanderplatz series is sort of a post-COVID. You want to talk about the post-COVID moment, the New Deal kind of exit. Oh yeah, so this is what I was saying about the Rick Burns documentary, the New York documentary, is they interviewed this guy, David McCullough, who made a film about the Brooklyn Bridge. And he's an amazing historian. I think he wrote the John Adams fucking biography that the Paul Giamatti series is based on. And he said, they asked him when the best time ever it would have been to live in New York City. What year would he pick was the best year ever to live in Manhattan? And he said 1946, right after World War II, because they just won, they experienced a surplus, but there was a peacetime, it was before the Cold War. That's when it was really like, the best. And that's kind of how the post-pandemic moment felt, the post-COVID. That's probably as close as we'll ever get in our lifetime. I mean, getting that much free money from the government, being able to live in an apartment in a good neighborhood in Manhattan for an unbelievable amount of money, cheap amount of money, was something I always wanted to manifest. Never did I think it would actually probably occur, really. I don't know. Unless you luck out, and there are ways of getting rent-controlled apartments, if you're just lucky and you sort of meet the right people or whatever. Maybe I'll go make do going down. Okay, this is right where that Neil Young album cover was shot, right here, I think. After the Gold Rush, I think it was shot right here. If you check out the Neil Young album cover, this is exactly the same. You wouldn't think it was shot on this street in these circumstances. Okay. Yeah, so if you watch my Manhattan Alexanderplatz series, that's like the post-COVID moment. It's like we had all this money, we had all this time, everybody could buy equipment, everybody was vlogging, going to Best Buy. God, I just discovered this business, and it just went out of business. I literally discovered it at the end of October. It was like an oasis for me. Oh my God, there's Beckett. And it went out of business. Ain't that how it goes? Ain't that the way? Should I go buy the Comedy fucking Cellar and all that shit? I don't know. I'm kind of trying to avoid. I want to do a live show at the Audible Theater. That's my live stream, is to do one of these little theaters in the West Village. Just do like kind of do a live vodcast. I saw this article this week. I think it was in New York Magazine. Giuliani, pathetic, spends his days alone in his apartment on the Upper East Side, live streaming, talking to himself. How pathetic it was that he's on the internet talking to himself. It's like, you mean, they called it vodcasting, which I'm not sure how I feel about that term. I don't really love it, I don't think. I do not consider myself a vodcaster, but said he's just comforted by the sound of his own voice. That felt like a personal attack. Let's check out this, I don't know, audible.com, like the Weezer song. They're everywhere, It's just weird to me how these big brands have like bought real places like Red Bull. The way they insinuate themselves like into, I don't know, cultural spaces and shit. The Red Bull Academy interviewing Brian Eno. Audible Theater. I think they stage plays there so they can record them and sell them on audible.com or whatever. Put them on audible.com, which is a pretty cool, that's basically what I'm trying to do, really, is create kind of a never-ending live kind of literature online where people can access it by verbatim improvisation, composition, live on the streets, intersecting with real shit and seeing real shit and, seeing where that takes the show in this post-COVID moment. So yeah, I don't know. What's the next moment? World War III, World War IX? Escalating tensions. I don't know, man. We're going to be forced to take political sides. I watched an interview with RFK Jr. He seemed like he had some, he was talking about small businesses in a real sincere way and trying to help small business and this and that. And he was also talking about BlackRock and these venture capitalists and how they fucking own everything and how they're buying everything and how they're just raising prices on everything. I hadn't heard any politicians talking about that. They slander him or whatever as an anti-vaxxer, but I think people are just looking for any kind of alternative to Biden, particularly now that this Israel thing has happened. I think a lot of people do disagree with Biden's policies on this in a big way. People that sort of had to vote for him, Bernie people, people that had to vote for him just to get Trump out of there. And we were just in this crazy pandemic moment where everybody was just freaking out and we just had to they just had to fucking get rid of Trump. And so they voted for this guy. It was basically Weekend at Bernie's, We've been living Weekend at Bernie's for the last 4 years. And, as far as I can tell, the presidency, it's an administration. It's hard to tell who's flying the plane sometimes, but at this point, a lot of these planes basically fly themselves. They have computers on board and shit, and they have big teams of people at night. So with Biden, it's most of their policies, I feel like they've done a somewhat okay job, right? Kind of, right? Sort of. In this post-COVID, if you want to talk about the post-COVID moment, that's basically the Biden presidency, right? Maybe it's just like COVID was insane. By the time Biden was sworn in and things got settled, we were working in euphoric bribe mode where it was just like, hey, America, spend and fuck and do drugs, get high, everybody's, weed's legal. So that's what I'm saying. This year 2021 for me was like the 1946. It was like they had just legalized weed literally at the same time. It's like, here's 40 grand, because tens of thousands of people had died in New York City. People sort of forget, but the pandemic was especially bad here. And for a while, it sort of looked like a tragedy of 9/11 proportions because it just spread like wildfire and got out of control. It was really scary. In March, April, May 2020, that was a big reason why they shut everything down and really took it seriously because of what happened in New York. People in bodies in freezer trucks and shit. Nobody wants to go back to that. And they wanted to do anything they could to prevent that from happening everywhere. But then every place else kind of caught up with New York. And, there's no memorials to it. There's no 9/11 fucking memorial to COVID. Basically, from my own perspective, and you can watch it on my vlogs, my Manhattan Alexanderplatz, is it was just like, let's get young people in here and let's fucking just have a big, I don't know, pleasure fucking party, you know? Everybody, you know, KGB, the Dime Square thing, Beckett, you know, talk about, you know, Beckett's townhouse and shit. That was like super, that was the place to be in the post-COVID 22, you know, 23, whatever. That was real literary shooting star, kind of like my situation, you know, my fucking rent-controlled apartment. Rest in peace. It's a tragedy that haunts us to this day. I mean, look at me. I'm still trying to chase that life. I'm still trying to chase that post-COVID moment as it slips away, bit by bit, one drop at a time. Walking around the West Village like I live here or something. Who knows how long I can keep this up? I should be focused on other things, you know. I've really spent this whole year trying to maintain the lifestyle I had before, taking the train to Manhattan, walking around the West Village, going to open mics and shit. Oh God, I don't know. And, you know, this next phase, we're probably gonna have to work for a living. You know, part of the post-COVID moment where every day was like Christmas was laying flat, the laying flat movement, not doing shit. It's amazing how time is like this chameleon or something that just continues changing. It's the way it looks and its colors and its stripes and this and that. I'll be there for you. And so time marches on, you know, the fun is over, the party is over, the 1946 is over, now it's 1950, you know, now it's 1948, 49, it's McCarthy, it's the Cold War. Who the fuck knows? We'll be lucky if this is a Cold War. I mean, things seem to be escalating. I don't know, are they getting it under control? Kind of, maybe. You know, I mean, it's fucked up what they're doing. Right, obviously, in Gaza. And, I don't know, are they backing down? You know, some of the rhetoric coming after the thing that happened in October was ultra, we're gonna bomb them to the ground and all this. It seems like that's kind of, you know, maybe they're rethinking some of that. I don't know. But you know, there is an oppositional voice, and who the fuck knows how this is going to play into, you know. So you know, oh God, not to talk about. I mean, it's hard to talk about this change without talking about this. Because what is it? I mean, with these gallerists, basically, one of the things they were saying was, you know, there was a time where this guy, he started a gallery on the Lower East Side in 2006. He said during the post-pandemic moment, there was a time when he could post an Instagram post about a certain piece, and he knew that it would sell. He would tell his gallery, look, I'm going to post about this. Get ready, within a couple hours, somebody's going to call you. And usually they would. He would be able to count on selling works anytime he posted on Instagram. And he's like, now that doesn't really happen as much. People are not throwing money around in the same way. You know, I don't know if that's an algorithm thing. One of the things that was interesting about the talk that does well now, maybe on an international level, on Instagram, shit like that, is art that can be experienced, you know, in a enjoyable way through like JPEGs, you know, online Instagram posts, PDFs, whatever. You know, it does feel like we're like hybrid now. The pandemic did make us like part fucking Android, where more people are live streaming. Rudy Giuliani is vodcasting. I mean, to be honest, Rudy Giuliani has been on radio. You know, he's had radio shows and shit on AM radio. A lot of these guys talk every day on AM radio for hours. These right-wing guys, Hannity or whatever. Hannity's on the radio and TV. So that guy's literally talking, 4 or 5 hours a day on these fucking shows. So for Rudy Giuliani to go online and start vodcasting, to be honest, is not that, unusual or something. It's like he's used to just running his fucking mouth on the radio or on TV or whatever. He's like me. He's getting, well, I think when he was mayor, they said when he was mayor, he had some kind of radio broadcast once a week from Gracie Mansion or something. And they said his vodcasts are sort of like a throwback to that. So, I don't know. It's becoming more normalized. And we're watching these wars and shit on TikTok, on fucking, you go live right from the scene of the crime. Oh, God. What's so fucking crazy about the Trump thing is, like, when it happened, it seemed like impossible. It seemed like just the dumbest, like, hyper reality, right? Everybody was like, that's why everybody thought we had gone into a simulation, because it was just so hard to believe. It was so, it was like a fusion of like media image. Oh fuck, did audio go out? Is it still working? Check. It was a fusion of like the media, it was like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie come to life. It was like the fucking Running Man had become real or something. And we just couldn't deal with that. And couple that with the internet. I mean, you know how many fucking flat earth videos I see on TikTok? How do they not ban that stuff? That's what I want to know. It's like they'll ban you if you're like smoking in a TikTok video, but you can post about how the earth is flat as much as you want. And somehow it gets in my feed. It's like, I'm kind of curious to know what the fuck these people are thinking. But at the same time, it's like, if I didn't know they existed and they didn't have any foothold in the culture, that would be just as well for me. Like, it shouldn't be legitimized. Oh yeah, I was here the other day when I did when that guy said the thing from his van. Remember I was in front of that snack thing. Oh my God, my stream the other day got 11 likes. This one, I don't know. People are not liking it as much. I'm gonna go till I have 20%. I want something to eat, really. Okay. I did kind of feel like every day was like Christmas. Did it feel that way for everybody? Was that like an anesthetic or like a morphine that they just gave us because they knew? I mean, okay, real talk. In retrospect, I mean, obviously, a lot of the pandemic precautions and things were sort of like trying to prevent it from being as bad as it could be. Part of the reason why I was so vehement about the precautions was because Donald Trump was the president. And it seemed like if you left it up to him, it really could have been real bad. And it was real bad. I mean, over a million people died or whatever. Like, more fucking people died in America than anywhere, really, right? I mean, is that true? Who knows? People think it's a conspiracy. People think they fudge the numbers, whatever. I don't believe that, but there was a confusion with leadership. There was conflicting messages. So to me, it just felt like, you know what? Let's stick to whatever the fucking safest thing is. 6 feet apart, wash your hands, wear a mask, whatever it is. It wasn't that big of a fucking deal. You know, I even sheltered in place for an entire year. You know, I gave an entire year of my life to Fauci, okay? We all did. And I think people are pissed about it. And, but the economy is doing well. I thought I saw that Facebook is like 300% up since this inflation news. And so, like, I don't know. The market always does well. These people just make more and more fucking money. They buy more and more shit. I don't think Christmas is over for them. Christmas is over for the poor people who finally got a piece of the pie. I mean, right, I think most people, and I've said this before on the live stream, it's like most people, many people, it was the most money they'd ever had. For me, definitely. You know, it was twice as much money as I'd ever had before. You know, and then they just keep giving you more. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. This is how it should be. You know, I think it fostered a lot of people's artistic careers. It allowed a lot of people to move to New York. It allowed poor people to move to New York, live in Manhattan. I think that's all good. That was all unprecedented in my lifetime. That's what was so exciting about the post-COVID moment. Maybe 20 years from now, when the nostalgia cycle kicks in again, there will be post-COVID core, and kids will be dressing and acting like we did in Manhattan in 21 and 20, the roaring 20s. They roared for about 2 seconds. They roared because the government gave us a bunch of fucking free money. That's what was fucking sweet about it. It was like, yeah, you know, dump a bunch of fucking lighter fluid on the charcoal. Let's get this fucking motherfucker on fire, baby. And it did. I mean, it was lit as hell. It was glorious, man. It was the 70s again. It was our chance. Now, I mean, talking about the Brooklyn and Manhattan thing, I mean, one of the things, and this is something I want to address, I do want to go back to some of the things that we talked about in the video interview with Ben Callahan. Shout out to Ben Callahan. Is the Brooklyn versus Manhattan thing. Part of the Manhattan thing, I think, was made possible by COVID. The fact that that even existed at all as like an artistic possibility for me, you know, was entirely subsidized by COVID. Made possible with the generous support of the Biden administration. So that went bust. That's going bust. What will remain? I mean, you know, Brooklyn is sort of the place. It's where all of the youth culture is anyway. It has been that way the whole time. I mean, you know, the youth culture in Manhattan, I think, does have like a right-wing bent because there's so much money here. Children of conservatives are conservative themselves to some degree. You know, the Dime Square thing was like dirtbag left, or it was like, you know, trolls. I don't know. There's some aspect of it that's kind of like right-wing. And Brooklyn culture is like the opposite of that, completely. And so the rich kids that live in Manhattan will still be here, you know, even though the post-COVID moment's over, because they always had money. You know, there was a little bit of a confluence or interaction between, you know, pandemic subletters like myself and the financial elite, the children of the financial elite, the people who are sort of culturally white or right-wing or whatever the fuck, you know. the Times Square kind of, I don't know, white people gentrifying Chinatown. This is Taylor's Cornelia Street, by the way. The Taylor Swift people, the finance bros in the West Village, the Friends people. Yeah, so who knows what this portends? World War III? I don't have any fucking clue what the future is for me. Is it like, are the open mics drying up? You know, why is that? Are they drying up in Manhattan? I mean, partially, you know, with the thing that I host, it's like it's a 2-drink minimum. That's not cheap. I think, you know, because of the post-COVID moment, people could have a devil-may-care attitude about that kind of stuff. Everybody had a little extra. They could afford 2 drinks. They understood it's Manhattan. You pay a little more. It's expensive everywhere you go. It's $13 for a fucking cocktail anywhere you go in Manhattan. People kind of expect that and they want that. You know, rich people want you to charge them. Otherwise, they think that they're not getting the best. You know, they want the best thing. They don't care how much it fucking costs. They want to pay fucking $23 for a drink. So you got to hit that sweet spot. But, you know, that's not really who I am. I don't know. I get along with rich people pretty well. I don't know why. Some of my friends growing up and things were like, you know, children of psychotic right-wing Ayn Rand people and shit. I don't know why. In Manhattan, in New York City, in this day and age, I don't know, it's just in your face. You can't really avoid that or but it could be worse. I mean, it's bad everywhere. You know, everywhere has been gentrified and kind of made bland. The post-COVID moment, I mean, come on, bitch. Come on. Yeah, during the pandemic, it really felt like the people took back the streets. People were living on the street. You know, it was glorious because people didn't have to work, and right? Everybody was suspended from work, so people could be artists. People could Twitch stream. People could stream themselves fucking playing video games. People could go to Best Buy and buy a vlogging kit and try to be a YouTuber or an influencer like Logan Paul or Jake Paul. I mean, I've been in this game for a long time, and for me, it's sort of just as much about, you know, editorializing about society or just kind of tracking the changes, you know. So, you know, that's one reason why I wanted to get on and talk about this, because it's like, what is the next thing we're moving into? For me personally, right? Did I kill my open mic because of my bad relationships with people and I'm an asshole? Just a bad person? I do feel like a bad person. I feel like I'm not good, you know, to people who have given me a lot. And, but is it just an economic downturn? Is it just a cultural downturn? I mean, part of what maybe, I mean, last year, to be honest, we were the only game in town for the most part. You know, there wasn't really a whole lot of competition. Now it's like there's all these, there's other open mics on Monday night in the same fucking neighborhood and shit. And is it like, do people just have less money? Are people going out less? Are they spending less? You know, are they enforcing the 2-drink minimum so hard that, you know, people just can't come and chill? I had a guy come up to me this week and go, yo, you know, this bartender just came up to me and he said, you know, there's a fucking 2-drink minimum. I didn't know about that. I was like, yeah, you know. He's like, dude, it's too much money. I can't afford this. I'll never come back. It's like, I understand, dude. I couldn't afford it. I can't believe there's that many people that can, to be honest. God bless them. You know, I love that, you know, it has been as popular as it has for as long as it has. It's an amazing thing to me because it's expensive. And like I said, I could not afford it personally. I don't blame people. You know, at a certain point you graduate. You can't afford it forever. It's too expensive. It's too hard to get there. And it's just, you know, eventually, like I say, people graduate. They come to Easy Paradise. Sorry. You know, however many times, half a dozen times, X number of times, they fucking meet people, they network, they hear other people. That's the point of an open mic, is to go out and hear other people, to make friends, and then, you know, they graduate. They move on to bigger and better things. They don't need it anymore. They learn what they learned. Like I said, well, but it's also like it's a product, I think, and maybe this is a fucking baseball card store. That's gotta be just some rich person's hobby or something. Or it's gotta be like an internet business that they just pay for the store for. Ooh, here you go, female founder brewery. That looks like Brooklyn. It's Christopher Street, that looks like Brooklyn. I shouldn't dox myself. Story of New York, you know. Just new shit coming in all the time. Things change, you know. The changeling. Like the Doors, the changeling, you know. Things change. Time moves on. What is this next moment gonna be? What is the next era? You know, for me, it's like the open mic has been a glorious thing, but it's also a thing that I have like this responsibility towards and keeps me in one place. So it can be hard to get around. Whereas before it was like I was going to 3 open mics around town a week. It's an invaluable experience to be able to get in front of that many people every week and to execute your own ideas. And you know, I don't know. I'm trying to tap into audience all the time. You know, it's New York. This is one of the things they were talking about in the talk yesterday, was they were like, well, it's New York. And I'm using it kind of like as a parallel to my life. You know, they're gallerists in Manhattan. You know, I sort of run a small press of sorts, a media empire, including live concerts, on-demand video, satellite, etc., publishing. They said, you know, it's hard to find collectors, right? During the pandemic, the post-pandemic moment, the post-COVID moment, it was easier, right? This guy could sell fucking paintings on Instagram every time he tried. But they said, you know, that's the thing that's good about New York is, you know, one of the few places, and Paris is not like this, they said, where like there is always new collectors. You know, there are always new people. There are always new people coming in, people with money. There's just so much wealth. There's so many people with wealth. And so I don't know. I'm just trying to make it. For me, is it like, you know, do I have a tendency to give up on things too easily, so I don't want to count myself out yet or anything. And I love doing the open mic. But is it like, I don't know, you know, I was watching these videos about, or, you know, the famous example of the Beatles stopping touring, right? It was this video about the Beatles played Cincinnati in Ohio, and Cincinnati was the place where they decided to call it quits. as far as touring went, because they said the concert got rained out. There was no, they would have got electrocuted if they had played, and they put them in this van with nothing in it. And so they were sliding around in this back of this fucking van, and there was no chairs or anything. They were just hitting the sides of the fucking van, and they said, you know what? We're done with this. Cincinnati, Ohio, that's what it'll do to you. And, you know, that's when they started to focus on, right, the recording studio. And, you know, I love live performance. You gotta wait. You know, like we went to this open mic on Sunday. It was super cool. Uptown, Morningside Heights. It was at this amazing bar, Sweet Bar, which is a gay bar connected to this, my favorite restaurant, Frankie Rodi. You know, there's never any fucking open mics uptown. They're always in Brooklyn or downtown or something. And this bar is amazing. I mean, it's got a lot of character. That neighborhood up there is just super nice. You know, it's one of the few places in town that kind of has retained its crustiness and kind of funkiness to some degree. And so this bar is super cool. And the Friends apartment, everybody. Just going over to see my friend Chandler and Rachel. I guess if I knew any of them, I'd probably know maybe Phoebe or... Which friend would I be friends with? I don't know. IRL. The fan fiction. Maybe I'll write some Friends fan fiction. Some Chandler fan fiction. Maybe we should do a bootleg episode of Friends at the open mic. You know, the point is just to get stage time, really. That was the point of doing it originally, was just to get stage time. It wasn't even, I didn't even necessarily anticipate that it was going to be some popular thing. That was never even the goal. I kind of wanted to just do like kind of an under the radar. I would, you know, I love doing it. I love that place. I love everything about it. I mean, it's KGB. Long may it live, you know. But it would also be nice to have like a lower key thing that's like cheap, and anybody could come out and not worry about spending $25 or whatever. And it, you know, with less obligation to make it some kind of huge fucking, like I said, I never anticipated it being, you know, some kind of big, you know, overly packed thing. It was cool when that happened. But now you're kind of judged against that. It's like, okay, well, what happened? You know, we've had a good turnout recently, but it's, you know, it has been sort of diminishing a little bit in a way that I didn't really expect. I expected when the weather kind of got worse, people would sort of start to come back a little more. And, you know, really the story is like it always is. There's always amazing stuff, and there's always new people coming in that kind of blow you away. You know, we're very lucky that we just get such talented people that are committed to coming out and doing it, and who give their all, and who are very stoked about doing it. You know, we had this guy Henny this week. He was amazing. He had some great tunes. We always have amazing people. Celeste Bizarre was amazing. MCP came out. I mean, any night you have MCP come out is a great night, because MCP is one of the best entertainers in New York. Everybody knows it. And so, you know, I want to make it this big bustling thing all the time. And you know, but I get it. It's like, people move on, they graduate. And it gets old, you know, being in that room or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? You don't know. You know, one week it might be ebbing, the next week it might be packed. You don't even know why, you know? It's hard to predict these things sometimes. A lot of the biggest nights are just like, I don't even know why it got that busy. You know, like last winter when all these people were coming in, I don't know where they were coming from. I don't know exactly what was drawing them in. You know, other than that, they just wanted to perform. I didn't necessarily think there was anything unique about what we were doing. It's just they wanted a piece of a nice stage with an audience. And that's, we were able to organize that. Was that a post-COVID moment thing or not? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what this next moment is. I think people are feeling scared. We've had our own kind of personal disruptions in the open mic that have caused it to, maybe certain people to, be frightened away, which sucks. But it's like, anything you're committed to that you repeat and you are dedicated to, there's ups and downs. There are good, there's highs and lows. There's great nights, there's bad nights, That's the life of a performer, I think. And that's, my life in New York has definitely been like that, highs and lows. Certain nights feels like you just kill and you had a great, like Monday felt like a great show. And then other nights it's like, whoa, that was rough. So it's like, I don't know. It does take a lot of work to put the show on every week. And it feels like we're living increasingly in an era where it's like, well, you have to be like the Beatles and just like, you have to make something that's going to tour for you. That's ultimately, when I think about what makes these artists, I don't know, the difference between, to use an antiquated expression, the men and the boys. Separating the men from the boys is like, you have to be able to write hits. You have to be able to fucking prove to people that, like, you can make something. Okay, I got 20% battery, so I'll stop pretty soon. You can make something that is going to carry on its own. For me personally, it's like I'm very fulfilled, like as a person, as an artist, doing what I do already, writing my books, reading at various events, putting it online, doing System Lord, doing the vlogs, if you want to call them that. The vlogs are really everything that I want to do with film, more or less. I don't necessarily feel the need to script something and rehearse it and all that. I like vlogging. Or just like, directing live action docudrama, mockumentary, as you go. Verite style. Don't look back, like D.A. Pennybaker and James Schuyler and Joey Ramone and Gene Simmons and Howard. So I'm gonna get off pretty soon. We're doing about an hour, that's good. And so it's like you have to make something that is gonna, I don't know, just carry. And everybody that sees it, it works on, or as many people as possible. With poetry, that's not always the goal, at least for me, most of my 30s. And this was a result of like the political moment, Trump, and then the pandemic. It was about going further and further into, I don't know, experimentation, noise, hieroglyphics, the ghost in the machine, the beauty of accident, how the traces of a song heard through the walls create like a new song that's like kind of a twin, but almost like better than the original. You can hear melodies in things that are already there. And they're just as beautiful, maybe even more beautiful. Like some kind of, dream logic thing. Abstract. Okay, so I'm going to sign off pretty soon. I don't know. My vlogs are starting to pick up a little bit. I have been getting some views just on the vlogs. Like I said, I think maybe the culture is just getting into the vlogs. I think YouTube is putting the stuff in front of people a little bit more. The culture is catching up. And so onward and upward. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this next moment is more onward and upward, more success, more I don't know. It's hard to be optimistic with the stuff that's hanging in the air right now, but let's enjoy it as long as it lasts. And we'll keep fighting for goodness and peace and light, no matter what happens. That's what we're here for. In the best ways that we know how. In places that, well, I mean, with the open mic, yeah, it was like, I guess in my head I was thinking, if I just keep hammering at this is the thing that's work. I think to some degree you can listen to other people too much. A lot, and that's not even like people at the open mic, but just like people in my personal life try to give you advice or try to tell you what to do or influence you or what they think is good for you, and they don't know, and I like being a host and everything, but if people telling you you're a good host, so it's like, it's like you keep putting in thinking, well, this is the thing that's working, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to commit to, I have to figure out how to make this a success. Not that I don't want it to be a success, I do want it to be a success, but it's also just like that's not the whole world of what I'm doing, and having a life, doing this, making vlogs, whatever, other kind of artistic enterprises and purposes and all that kind of shit. We'll just keep going. I think building some kind of interview show on the internet, that's like the next move. We're trying to build like a podcast that's more like, in a studio with microphones and all that kind of shit. So that will be the thing that we try to make. We're going to do the debriefing with Natalie. Shout out to Natalie. We're going to do the debriefing with her coming up where we talk about the open mic. We'll do an open mic podcast, like Fly on the Wall, where we just talk about it. No, I don't want that to be the summation of everything, because it's not, Up on the library at November 30th, Jefferson Market, I'll be showing some of my films with live poetry, accompaniment, recitation. So that's really the true way that I'd like to perform, is with my vlog kind of projected behind me while I read my notebooks, my diary pieces, because then you kind of get a visual and you get the internal monologue at the same time. So you're seeing my point of view and you're hearing my thoughts. So it's like being in, my clan, in my consciousness and whatnot. So come out November 30th to Jefferson Market Library. We're going to be screening the films. Thank you for watching. More micro cinema, everybody. We love micro cinema, communicating through movies, poetry movies. Come out to the open mic at Thanksgiving next week. We're going to be doing a whole Planes, Trains, and Automobiles thing. The greatest Thanksgiving movie of all time, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve Martin, John Candy. Unbeatable. I don't know. I don't know how to keep the open mic. I don't know how to not piss people off, or make them feel like I'm some kind of super narcissist that thinks I'm the king of the castle or whatever. I don't know. I do like connecting people. I do just want people to have a place to go and perform and meet each other and network and all of that, you know. I'm sorry that I get jealous, you know. It's Instagram. I blame Instagram on everything. But I don't know. I'm just trying to make my career have some kind of big bang, right? And it felt like the open mic was probably the closest thing that I had to doing that, where it's like, it's in Manhattan, it's this thing, it's kind of catching on. I don't know that it has the same kind of heat that it did. But maybe that's not important. Maybe it's just about the durability and, you know, I like doing a live weekly show in fucking Manhattan. You couldn't beat that, you know? And so I'm trying to keep it up. I'm trying to get new people in there. I'm trying to keep it exciting, keep it hot, make it a must-see TV event. I think, you know, I think a lot of people do probably watch it online, and maybe that's how they catch it. I'm trying to upgrade the video quality. I'm going to do that soon, so I don't know. We'll ride this motherfucker as far as we can, you know. That's all I know how to do. And, you know, whatever works, just keep doing it. I don't know. But the post-COVID moment, the every day is Christmas thing, I don't know. I'm trying to factor that in. How much of a influence is that going to have over my own personal? And so what, you know, I'd love to go on tour. I can adapt to anything. You know, I've always been flying under the radar. You know, I feel like Craig, the puppeteer, John Cusack from Being John Malkovich. You know, how they just have this weird life. He like works in an office, but he's just like this kind of extremely niche, bitter, kind of middle-aged. You know, he's got this weird facial hair and ponytail and glasses, and he lives in New York, and he's just, you know, he's dedicated to his art, even though he's this, I don't know, kind of weird, creepy, middle-aged guy. Is that how I'm going to spend the rest of my life, as like a puppeteer? Some kind of, you know, extremely niche, like, oh, I'm a fucking poet, you know, and I'm just going to, you know, do all these pathetic readings where I book myself and publish my own books, and all the real poets think I'm just a bitter asshole who's angry and more chip than shoulder. And I resent them, their success, and I don't have the goods to make it on that level. I don't know. I'm approaching middle age. What can I do, you know? If it would have happened, it probably would have happened by now. I don't know. They say hang in there, but Jesus Christ, at what point does it just get pathetic? You have to keep trying. I don't know. We're going to keep trying. You know, it's just one way to get poetry. I overheard somebody the other night at the open mic say something about, I overheard two people talking about the difference, or like, is this the Monday open mic? And they were like, oh, or like, they were like, what's the difference between the Wednesday open mic at KGB and the Monday open mic? And they were like, oh, the Wednesday one is like a curated poetry, like open mic. The Monday one, I didn't really hear what they said, but the effect was like, you know, the Monday one is like not as curated. I hate this word curated. It's my least favorite word. I'm the anti-curator. I hate, you know, to me the open mic, it curates itself. It's self-curation. It's not exclusion. I'd love to get Ken Mills on my show. And that's not strictly true. I mean, you know, I do have, you know, a literary nature that underlies everything, and it's kind of my prime focus. So we do get very strong writers. I mean, it's not, I'm worried that certain things can kind of blow that stuff out, as far as like it's, you know, having loud music or comedy that's abrasive or this or that. I'm worried that the poetry stuff can kind of get overshadowed or something, but I think we always have great writers and great poets, and, you know, it might not be quite the concentration of the same people that it always was, That's part of what is frustrating. Is I do feel like my open mic kind of serves as like a funnel or like an entry point where, and I don't feel like I certainly don't feel like I have propriety over anybody, and anybody is allowed to do whatever they want, obviously. And I don't get mad about it, but I'm also like, I feel like I've gotten like a bad reputation or something. And so it's like people who are serious about writing come to the open mic, they really love it, and then they meet the other poets from Brooklyn and they find out, oh, wait a minute, well, there's actually all these hot people in Brooklyn and the exciting kind of scene is out here, and there's all these readings out here, and blah, 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 and the Easy Paradise thing is kind of a rip-off, and this guy's kind of isolated and kind of weird, and he's got kind of bad history or whatever with certain people, or he's kind of ostracized or this or that, and it's not the serious poetry open mic. And so my open mic is sort of like the gateway, you know, and then, you know, I like that. I like, you know, if people are able to, like, you know, just get going or whatever, but it's also, I don't want to feel like alienated or, you know, like I'm on the outside or I'm negative or you know, are people not showing up as much because of, and once again, this might just be worrying, you know, it might just be worrying about, these are natural cycles, you can overmanage things, you overanalyze things, you know, on a week-to-week basis, you have to think longer term. And, you know, I do think it is true that, like, you have to put work into it. It never, you know, you can take it for granted and think, oh, this thing is growing, it's becoming popular, it's only just going to keep growing and keep getting more popular, you know. And it's like, well, you still have to work, you know, you still have to do promotion, you still have to make posters, you still got to put flyers up, you still got to go to other open mics, you got to be friendly with people, you got to, you know, you got to put your time in. And I don't know. For my own circumstances in my life, I felt like trapped in just my living circumstance and shit. And so it's not that, I'm doing the best that I can. It's not that easy for me to get around and to be involved socially as much as I would like, you know. I'd love to be on the scene with all the poets and hanging out. I've never been good at that. You know, this is why I host an open mic. It's because I don't have to talk to anybody. I'm not good at that. It's not that I don't want to talk to people, it's that they don't want to talk to me. After a few minutes of talking to me, they're like, Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking a creep or high or something. So I host an open mic. It's like all the people can come. I don't have to talk. I got to be on stage. I got to say the next thing. Not that I don't want to talk to people. It's just that I'm not good at it. For some reason. I thought I was good at it. I thought people would like to hear what I have to say, but it's amazing to me how often people run away from conversations with me. I don't get it at all. All right, well, anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see. Hopefully, you know, it's fettuccine Alfredo. Sign up for next week. I know this is the last thing people want to hear about, but it's something for you to think about, the post-COVID moment over. What's this next moment? What do we want it to be? Whatever it is, we will persevere. We will keep living. We'll be strong for each other. I don't know. We will endure. Good night, everybody. Good night, Seattle. We love you.